Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lex here, and if you're not familiar with me, I love reality TV, doing reality TV, and eventually pop culture reviews. So please, 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 I would love it because I am a new channel, a small channel. I don't even know if you could call me a small channel, girl. I'm just a new channel, and because of that, I don't have a lot of subscribers or comments or anything. So please, 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 if y'all, the train is going by. Sorry, the train is going by. But anyway, I would love it if you could like, share, comment, subscribe, do anything you can to get me a little exposure. Of course, if you like it. If you don't like these videos, you can click out and head out. Not trying to force y'all to do anything you don't want to do. But if you like these videos, please, please, please show a little love. I would appreciate that. And share them, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousin, whoever. So anyways, today we are here to talk about The Traitors. I absolutely love this show. I think it's so good. I'm not an OG Traitors fan. I actually started watching the last Canada season. That was the one that I started with. And now I'm watching here The Traitors US. And it is very, very good. I am loving it, loving it, loving it. It's really great. So let's just jump in here. So we ended off last episode with Bergie, Kate, MJ, and Trishelle eligible for murder. If you recall from the last episode, they had a group fire pit type situation where each person, they basically played popcorn to light each other's torches until 4 people were eligible to be murdered. Well, 5, because Parvati was also eligible, but Parvati is a traitor. So, that is kind of the group that was eligible there. So we also had that fight between CT and Trishelle. So they're kind of like on thin waters. They're kind of feeling a little iffy about each other because, they're family. They're part of the challenge crew. So they're both feeling a little bitter there. So Sandra does a confessional and she's still saying that she does not get vibes that Parvati's a traitor. And Sandra is not doing so hot at this game. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. The Survivor people, Sandra, even Parvati, I don't think Parvati's a good player. I think people have been onto her from the get along with Dan. You could argue all you want that Phaedra is a bad player or she's been fading into the background. But Phaedra, nobody was really thinking about Phaedra until this week, when everybody else is kind of out of the spotlight. Now Phaedra is kind of the last one to be even considered as a traitor. So I think Phaedra did a great job. She did a great job making the housewives and the Bravo people think that she's on their side, she's their friend. And I don't know, I think Dan tried to play the same strategy and Dan got the boot. And Parvati is also under heat. People are on Parvati's tail. So then we go ahead and we have the breakfast in the morning. First off, in the room is Kate and MJ, or they're not murdered. So good for them. Then we have Parvati and Kate walk in. And lastly, everybody notices that Bergie is gone. Bergie gets murdered. It was between Bergie and Trishelle, I believe, were kind of the two big picks. But they end up going with Bergie simply because he's the next best to Peter. Bergie was smart. Bergie was onto people. Bergie was onto Dan. So I do think that Bergie is one of the more logical, smarter players in the game. Good decision to get him out, I think. So Trishelle is talking and she starts to kind of suspect that Phaedra's acting a little weird. She's saying that Phaedra never talks game. Phaedra, and they keep bringing up this twitch that she has in her eye. Anytime they talk about who's gotten out, anytime they talk about who's possibly a traitor, apparently Phaedra has this twitch, and this comes up later in the episode. So I just think that it's interesting that they picked up on that. As I said, this is one of the reasons I love The Traitors, because I feel like it really does become a game of kind of paranoia and observation. Are you seeing something? Is it just someone's normal demeanor? So that makes sense. And Trishelle also mentions how Phaedra was called out at the round table by Dan. When Dan tried to plan his own funeral speech again, Phaedra was called out by Dan. And I'm surprised that not more people have picked up on that. Like, that was very random, especially because Phaedra isn't somebody that has been in the spotlight. No one has really accused Phaedra of anything. She's not one of the few that, you know, everybody's always suspecting. So I would think that more people would be like, why would Dan say Phaedra? Like, that's just so random. But great on Trishelle for picking up on it. And you know, they do start to realize they want to get Phaedra out first because they realize she has all the Bravo people. Like, she literally has this whole group secured. Like, no one's really thinking Phaedra is anything. Sheree will give her life to save Phaedra in this game. So they say that Parvati's a wounded bird, and that's true. I mean, Parvati is completely by herself. She doesn't really have anybody. So I do think that if it's in the best interest of trying to kind of get out these alliances, I would definitely say, yeah, Phaedra is maybe the head of that Bravo or that ladies alliance that they got going on over there. So they definitely should try to get her out. So Peter pulls Parvati aside for a talk, and MJ's literally outside the door like, what they saying? And Peter is basically admitting that he's wrong. Now, Peter has a plan here. So he's like, I was wrong, you know, blah, 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 blah. I was wrong, you know? So that is what Peter says. A few minutes pass, and Peter goes, I know you're a traitor. Let's be for real. I know you're a traitor, but why don't we work together? You know? And he's continuing to turn on Phaedra. He's like, look, I know you don't really have anybody, and we know that Phaedra is also most likely a traitor, so what do you think about this? That's basically what Peter is trying to put down on Parv. He's like, you picking up what I'm putting there. Okay, so we have the competition. Dr. Will from Big Brother is here. If you're a Big Brother fan, you know Dr. Will is one of the legends, and he is hosting this competition. Basically, this is his cabin, and they need to find their way out of the cabin. It is an escape room type competition, and basically there's a bunch of people that are in the main room or like the main cabin room, and there's lights. And if you hold down the lights in the main room to get through the tunnels, then you can go on out, head out, leave. But if they want to have light in the main room, then they have to turn that same light turns off in the tunnel. So you can only have the light on in one space. There's also some other kinds of little things going on where they're pouring bugs on you. Alan is like on the other side pouring roaches and stuff. I'm like, baby. And they can say haggis if they want to get out first. If they want to get out of the cabin, bow out, if they're like, I'm not doing no damn roaches, which baby, I'm not gonna lie to you, I will be on that haggis, okay? Because I don't do roaches, rodents, animals, no ma'am. So, haggis. That is their kind of code word. Haggis. Okay. So, Trishelle is starting off in the lead in the tunnels. She gets to the gold competition, which is basically like that egg competition in Big Brother where you have to like fish the piece out from behind the fence. It's really hard to explain if you ain't never seen it on Big Brother. And then you basically have to fish it out to try to pull it all out over the top. So, roaches are poured on Trishelle. She doesn't know what's going on. She is screaming, but she is in the lead. MJ is the first one to call haggis. She's like, I'm not doing the roaches. Absolutely not. She exits the cabin. Then Phaedra, shortly after, same thing. Haggis. No ma'am. And CT finds a shield. CT finds the shield in one of the tunnels, and he actually gives it to Trishelle. And he's like, don't tell anybody. Trishelle says in her confessional, hey, now me and CT are back on good terms again. No matter what happens, we are family. This has rebuilt our trust. Great on them. And Sheree is the last person to call haggis. She's actually in the house for a while, but I think she just got too grossed out and she said haggis. So Kate is not buying, so that is basically that. They get on out, they get this money, and they leave. So Kate is not buying Parvati's plan. Basically, Parvati's trying to play everybody that she's faithful, which I think is stupid. I think Parvati's literal best plan would have been to be like, look, I'm a traitor, but I do want to turn on the other traitor, Phaedra, so let's work together to get her out. Like, everybody knows that you are a traitor. I don't know. I just think there is a time and a place where you can play that you're faithful, because I think it was the same as Dan. I think Dan, straight up, his best move would have literally been to be like, I'm a traitor, but like, let's make a group. I think Peter had the right idea by being like, look, I know y'all are traitors, but y'all want to work together to get somebody out. And I just think that Parvati, Kate's not buying it. You know, Kate is like, yeah, okay, girl. So that's just kind of the after competition convo. So we go to the round table. Parvati starts. She starts talking, and she again does another speech trying to prove that she's a faithful. And I'm like, girl, everybody knows you're a traitor. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Parvati, nobody believe you. So Trishelle then speaks up, and she takes a shot at Phaedra. Shots fired. She says that she has no reactions after every murder at breakfast. She's never worried herself about being murdered. And Dan randomly came at her. And I mean, I think those are fair points. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. I do think those are fair points. However, I think a lot of that Bravo group is the same. We've never really seen Sheree be afraid of being murdered. We've never really seen Sheree like have much reaction to these things either. So I think while those are great points, and Trishelle is 100% right because she is a traitor, I just think unfortunately that's the big thing with Phaedra having an alliance, is that it's like, well, maybe I'm just comfortable because of my alliance, you know? So Kevin speaks up and brings up the eye twitch again. Kevin is like, you know, every single time we talk about these people getting out, you have this twitch in your eye. And Phaedra's like, what? He's like, did you grow up with twitches? I was like, oh nah. He didn't ask her if she grows up with twitches. I was like, that's OD. That's crazy. And John speaks up, and he actually takes a shot at Parvati. And John is like, look, I think you did a great job. Because I forgot to mention here that John and Parvati, Parvati pulls John aside and tries to basically be like, look, the reason why I've been acting like this is because the past 2 years I've been guarded, because that's what I've had to do in my personal life to make it through. So that's why I'm also acting the way I'm acting here. That's why it seems like I'm kind of cold and distant, but really, like, I've just gone through a lot. And John didn't buy it. John was like, look, I know you're a murderer. John was on some like, you are the architect of these murders. And I thought that was funny. He also said, why are you worried about, you're always worried about being banished, but you're never worried about being murdered. Like, I've never seen you worry about being murdered. So that was great. Like, I really think this roundtable was great. I think everybody brought up amazing points. So we now get to the vote. So basically, I'm going to run down the votes real quick. MJ votes for Parvati, Phaedra Parvati, Sandra Parvati, Peter Phaedra, John Parvati, Parvati Phaedra, Kevin Phaedra, Sheree Parvati, CT Parvati, and Kate Parvati. Parvati gets banished, baby. Parvati is gone. And you know what? Parvati put up the good fight, but Parvati just did not play this game that well, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think Phaedra played the best out of all of the 3 traitors because she's still here. Like, I don't know. I just feel like whenever you want to argue, oh, Phaedra didn't play well, the Bravo girls just, got her. Okay, so make an alliance. Parvati did not make an alliance with anybody. Parvati could have made an alliance with Sandra. Were they not both on Survivor? Like, I don't know. Make alliances. Make friends. I feel like from the beginning, Parvati positioned herself as somebody that was kind of an outsider. Whereas Phaedra has positioned herself as part of a group. Dan and Parvati, they did not do that. And people started to pick up on it. So Peter is under some heat. Okay, Peter is under some heat. People are really starting to kind of feel fed up with Peter. They're starting to feel like he is doing too much. They're starting to feel like he's kind of getting a little too loose on the lips, and he's a little too hard too fast. So Peter is definitely in danger post-vote. And lastly, the twist, the way we end off this episode is that because it is only Phaedra, the twist is basically to be recruited or die. So she has to recruit someone or die. I personally think she should have picked Trishelle. I think she should have picked Trishelle. Trishelle is smart. She is onto people. She's onto her, I think, right? And so I think that she should have 100% picked Trishelle. However, she ends up picking Kate. Her reasoning is that Kate is smart. She's played this game twice. And so because of that, Kate's a good partner. Like, I don't think Kate's a great partner, but I mean, I do think Kate has kind of been on Phaedra's side as well. And I think will, I guess, probably more harmoniously work together with her rather than maybe immediately turning on her, even though they're both traitors. So that is that. That is how the episode ended. I am 99.9% sure that Kate will, of course, say yes, because if not, she has to leave. She doesn't have an option. So yeah, we will see what happens next week with this. Anyways, thank you so much. If you watched until here, please comment, like, subscribe, share, anything to get this little channel off the ground. If you love this video, if you watched till here, I would really appreciate that. It would mean so much. And I will catch you guys for next week's episode of The Traitors. Bye.